Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely dark, visceral journey deep into the mind. We're going to explore a profoundly fascinating allegorical concept drawn from Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophy, specifically weaving through the ideas in Thus Spoke Zarathustra. We're talking about the 7 solitudes and their corresponding internal devils. Now, this isn't your typical hero's journey where the good guy just slays the dragon and goes home. No, this is an exploration of the grim, agonizing, but absolutely necessary internal dialogue of a seeker. It's really a fable about how the absolute darkest parts of our psychology might actually be the most vital.
I mean, think about the things you try to hide from yourself, right? Your guilt, your doubt, that desperate desire to just fit in. Well, our core thesis here is actually pretty radical. You cannot defeat your internal devils. Trying to banish them or outrun them, total fool's errand. Instead, to reach your highest potential, you literally have to absorb them. You have to invite them in.
So, what does this actually look like? We call it the Alchemy of Solitude. And we aren't just talking about feeling a little lonely on a Friday night. We're looking at the psychological mechanics of alchemical self-renewal. The word alchemy is perfect here. Think of its ancient roots, transmuting base matter into gold. It's the exact same process, but taking heavy, unrefined suffering and isolation, and through sheer endurance, transmuting it into pure creative power.
To really get this, let's map out our seeker's mythic journey. It's a descent, really. In our allegory, the seeker leaves the crowded, comfortable village of regular society to travel through 4 grueling, completely distinct geographical trials of the mind. Each stage represents a deeper, much more profound layer of isolation. And here's the catch. Each environment holds a very specific internal devil waiting to test them. Let's see how this builds.
We begin with Trial 1, the Desert Hermit. Our seeker is out in the vast, silent sands, searching for the first solitude of independent thought.
Almost immediately, the first internal challenge hits. The devil of social conformity starts whispering those familiar, comforting doctrines of belonging, reminding the seeker of the warm village they left behind. But the crucial point here is the hermit's reaction. He doesn't run away. He doesn't plug his ears. Instead, he leans in. He listens to the temptation, deeply understands his own agonizing craving for belonging, and then integrates that very craving into a fiercer, self-chosen resolve.
By directly facing this agonizing loneliness rather than escaping it, the seeker fundamentally transforms that first devil. The temptation to conform is alchemized into an unshakable inner landscape. It's like his mind expands to match the vastness of the desert sands around him.
Moving deeper, we reach Trial 2, the Silent Cave. Our seeker leaves the desert and enters a dark mountain fissure to embrace the second solitude, painful introspection.
Down here in the dark, the devil of self-pity manifests. It shows up as this cold, weeping shadow that desperately wants to blame the outside world for its suffering. And this brilliantly illustrates the core of our dark alchemy. Because instead of masking those emotional wounds with toxic positivity or trying to banish the weeping shadow, the seeker realizes true renewal requires an embrace. He literally wraps his arms around this dark, bitter figure, taking that raw bitterness and transforming it into potent fuel for intense artistic creation. You'd think holding on to self-pity would absolutely destroy a person, right? But because he embraces it knowingly, it catalyzes something entirely new. This dark embrace in the silent cave gives birth to a profound, fiercely independent inner strength. Next, the climb begins. Trial 3 takes us to the frozen wasteland, where the traveler must endure the third solitude, emotional detachment. Up on the freezing glacier, the devil of nostalgia strikes. It tortures the seeker with warm, glowing visions of past lovers and easy friendships down in the valley. Talk about emotional friction. The traveler feels the bitter, painful sting of abandonment. But here's the kicker. He completely refuses to retreat to the warmth of the valley. He chooses to accept the freezing cold as a necessary forge, using the pain of loss to harden his vulnerable, fragile heart.
By accepting the bitter frost and actually integrating that painful nostalgia, a major transformation happens. That raw vulnerability crystallizes. It hardens into a beautiful, unyielding protective armor of complete self-reliance. The devil of nostalgia is no longer a weakness. It's literally the metal of his armor.
Finally, we reach Trial 4, the Starry Abyss. Standing at the highest precipice over a cosmic void, the creator faces the ultimate terror, absolute cosmic isolation.
Staring into the abyss, the devil of meaninglessness appears, mercilessly laughing that all human effort, all this climbing we just did, is entirely pointless. But the Creator does not despair. He doesn't wait for a god to swoop in and rescue his purpose. Instead, he stares directly into the terrifyingly empty universe, laughs right back, and decides to invent his own sacred values. He integrates the void directly.
This is really the culmination of the entire journey. The void itself, the very thing that threatened to completely unmoor him, becomes the blank canvas for his own invented, unshakable values. By absorbing the absolute lack of external meaning, he becomes the sole ruler and the only light of his own existence.
Let's just pause for a second to see how all this builds together. The mechanics of our mythic fable reveal a direct, one-to-one transformation. Each devil, when properly confronted and embraced, is alchemized into a vital tool for survival. Social conformity becomes resolve. Self-pity becomes inner strength. Nostalgia turns into self-reliance. And meaninglessness? That becomes the very foundation for invented sacred values. It's a perfect distillation of the process.
This brings us to a massive shift in perspective. The turn, the voice of the shadow. Having reached the final peak, it's no longer about defeating a devil.
It becomes about deeply listening to what that devil has been trying to tell you all along. Imagine this shadow speaking directly to you right now. You might have called it tradition or guilt when you were back at the base. You thought this shadow was your absolute worst enemy, right? A flaw you had to eradicate. But the shadow reveals the truth. You thought I was your enemy, but I was the resistance you required. I was the weight you needed to lift to develop the muscles for your climb.
The crucial takeaway here is that these internal devils are not curses, they are the absolutely necessary emotional friction for human evolution. Think about it. If you didn't feel the suffocating pull of conformity, you'd never be driven to seek independent thought. Self-pity isn't there to break you. It's literally the raw, bitter ingredient required for your alchemy. Accepting your failures means inviting the devil in as part of your destiny. They aren't here to destroy you, they are the internal obstacles forcing your evolution.
This is such a profound reframe. Without this friction, without these rigid moralities and comforting illusions pushing against you, the transition to independent creation is utterly impossible. You have to have something to push off of in order to launch yourself forward.
And that brings us to the ultimate state of evolution, the Overman. This state is born only when the student of solitude finally stops fighting their internal devil. Instead of trying to leave their flaws and shadows behind in the valley, they carry them as transformed companions. They refuse to suppress their dark nature, completely fusing their past weaknesses and rigid moralities into a brand new, self-chosen purpose.
Through this total integration, the seeker finally understands a massive truth. The struggle itself isn't blocking the light. The struggle is the source of the light. The shadow and the creator become one and the same entity.
The alchemy is complete. The base metals of human suffering, isolation, and inner torment have literally been spun into gold. The student's heart, forged in the freezing wasteland and whose mind grew as vast as the silent desert, now beats entirely with its own self-chosen purpose.
So I want to leave you with this final haunting thought. Look at your own life. Look into your own abyss. Which internal devil are you desperately fleeing right now? And more importantly, what sacred strength is it waiting to help you invent? Stop running. Embrace it, integrate it, and discover what incredible power it has been waiting to give you. Thank you for exploring this fascinating alchemy with us.